back to Cleveland for one reason: to resurrect his reputation and his stature. Talking about the commitment that LeBron gives, that he's revered for, along with many others, and what they bring to the table off the court. But in a bib, what do you want? Do you want us to feed you some applesauce or something? My God, what more can you do other than saying he's not the GOAT?
LeBron James has spent the last 2 decades chasing ghosts, not just chasing championships, but clawing at the legacy of the one man who casts a shadow across every hardwood court from Chicago to Cleveland: Michael Jordan, the GOAT, the standard. And while the world debates resumes, accolades, and rings, Stephen A. Smith just made it crystal clear. LeBron may be obsessed with the chip, but that obsession does not equal greatness. It is time to face the reality so many refuse to accept. This is not about hate. This is about truth, a truth that burns deep in the heart of competition. LeBron is relentless. He is dedicated. He is the most statistically dominant forward the game has ever seen. But being great is not the same as being immortal. His fire to win rings, to validate his place in the conversation, is undeniable. Yet that fire betrays him. It exposes the hole in his legacy. The chip is not a symbol of love for the game. It is a hunger for recognition, for validation. And that hunger is exactly why LeBron James will never be Michael Jordan. So if you are tired of the nonsense, if you are ready to break the silence and expose the uncomfortable truth, then hit that like button, subscribe to NBA Showdown, and join the conversation. Because we are not here to sugarcoat greatness. We are here to define it. Stephen A. opens this debate by making a clear point. He places LeBron James at number 2 all time. He acknowledges the high school dominance, the professional milestones, the absolute mastery of longevity. But then he delivers the real verdict. LeBron's resume, stacked as it may be, is not superior to Kareem's. That's a powerful statement, because if LeBron's resume does not beat Kareem's, how can it come close to touching Michael Jordan's? This is where obsession enters the picture. LeBron knows he is measured not just against his contemporaries, but against legends. That is why he plays this long. That is why he keeps chasing. But the greatest never needed to chase. Jordan dominated in an era that didn't allow for excuses. He defined an entire generation. He left no doubt. Meanwhile, LeBron's resume is still a work in progress, a project built on longevity rather than dominance. It is padded by appearances, not punctuated by perfection. His obsession with the chip has become a mission to compile numbers, to stack accolades, to overwhelm the conversation with data rather than defining moments. But greatness is not just about how much you win. It is about how you win, when you win, and who you beat on the way. Jordan's 6-for-6 record, his 6 finals MVPs, and his ruthless dominance in every final series scream legacy. LeBron's 4 rings are decorated with asterisks, team changes, super teams, and an eternal need to prove he belongs. So yes, LeBron's resume is legendary, but the fact that it is still debated and still compared rather than accepted without question proves one thing. He may be obsessed with the chip, but he still has not reached the summit.
I think LeBron James, I got him number 2 all time, but I don't think his resume is better than
I think
Kareem.
his resume is greater.
Resume better than Kareem?
I think it is
High
now.
school, college, pros, 19-time All-Star.
When Stephen A. compares this debate to Prince and Michael Jackson, he is not talking music. He is delivering an allegory that slices through the LeBron GOAT conversation like a knife. You can love Prince. You can admire Prince. You can even argue he is one of the greatest to ever do it. But no one with eyes and ears ever thought he was bigger than Michael Jackson. That is the brutal parallel. LeBron may be the Prince of the NBA. Talented, brilliant, revolutionary in his own right. But there is a king, and that king is Michael Jordan. The obsession LeBron has for the throne has blinded his fans to the facts. Every stat is weaponized. Every ring is glorified. Every accolade is twisted into a piece of propaganda. But Stephen A. reminds us that legacy is not about accumulation. It is about resonance. And Jordan resonates deeper. He resonates louder. He owns the soundscape of basketball history. LeBron may have rewritten some records, but Jordan wrote the rulebook. And that is why this entire GOAT conversation falls apart. Because while LeBron fights to prove he is on that level, Jordan sits above the noise, untouchable, unchallenged, and unimpressed. It is not disrespect to call LeBron number 2. It is accuracy. He is chasing a ghost he can never catch because the king is not on the court anymore. He is in the rafters. He is in the very soul of the sport. This is where the Jordan versus LeBron debate gets uncomfortable for LeBron supporters.
Disagree with them, but I wouldn't hit him over the head if they said Prince. I would sit up there and say, well, that is Prince that they brought up here.
Okay, right.
Prince and Michael Jackson, not nobody else.
Stephen A. delivers the truth with no filter. LeBron did not come into the league a killer. He came in gifted, yes, but not ready. It took years for him to ascend. It took Dwyane Wade. It took Pat Riley. It took a team of veterans reminding him who he could be. That is not the story of the GOAT. That is the story of someone searching for greatness, not owning it. When Jordan came into the league, he was different. Even when the Bulls were weak, even when he was surrounded by average talent, Jordan was slicing through the league like a man possessed. He did not need a mentor. He was the mentor. He elevated everyone around him. LeBron, on the other hand, had to be shown how to win. He had to be pulled aside aside, psychologically coached, pushed, and practically begged to embrace the killer instinct. And even then, it only came in flashes. He has grown since then, no doubt. He became a force. But GOATs do not take years to find the hunger. They are born with it. Jordan was born to kill. LeBron had to be taught. That is why the obsession with the chip exists, because it never came naturally to him. He had to chase it. And even now, decades into his career, that chip still feels like an external validation rather than an internal certainty. That is not how GOATs are made. That is how obsessed legends are remembered.
You say how you lowered your voice when you talk about, I would say Prince, but that ain't what you do. That ain't what you do in LeBron James. When you talk about you put him number 2, and all you do is that you stay elevated, Mike being number 1. You said, I would say Prince. I would say Prince.
Some people would say Prince, and I would not disrespect them for that. But I'm telling you this, I'm not going to get...
When LeBron tries to defend his legacy by comparing himself to Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, Stephen A. exposes a massive contradiction. The analogy sounds smart on the surface, but when you pull back the curtain, it falls apart. Manning was never widely considered greater than Brady. He was respected, he was admired, but he was not the ultimate symbol of championship dominance. Brady was. So when LeBron uses this comparison, what he is really doing is admitting that he is the Manning in this conversation. A great, a legend, but not the greatest. The desperation in that logic is unmistakable. It reeks of obsession. The ring count matters to him more than anyone will admit. Every finals appearance, every comeback, every stat is a calculated attempt to solidify his place at the top. But it does not work that way. You do not climb Mount Olympus by lobbying for inclusion. You either dominate your era so completely that no one can question it, or you fall into the ranks of the very good. Jordan did not debate. He destroyed. He did not campaign for GOAT status. He left no room for any other outcome. LeBron, on the other hand, is constantly caught in the trap of trying to justify his greatness through complex comparisons. The Peyton versus Brady line is just another example of how badly he wants the world to see him as number 1. But if you have to explain why you are the greatest, you probably are not.
Talked about or discussed with these guys is because this guy won 1 ring or won 2 rings or won, like, it's just weird to me. It's like saying Peyton Manning can't be in the same room with Brady.
Stephen A. rips the mask off one of the biggest myths in LeBron's career. His return to Cleveland was not about unfinished business. It was not about righting a wrong. It was not about love for his hometown. It was about repairing an image that had been cracked by the decision and Miami's super team perception. LeBron knew he needed to be seen differently. He knew that the media had turned, that fans had turned, that his legacy had a stain. So he came back to Cleveland with one purpose: to fix the narrative, to control the optics, to rewrite history. That is not the move of a GOAT. That is the move of someone obsessed with how they are remembered. Jordan never cared about narrative. He let the game speak. He did not chase forgiveness. He chased greatness. He did not need to rebuild public trust because he never betrayed it. LeBron, however, operates like a politician. Every step is calculated. Every interview, every decision, every PR move is designed to steer the conversation. That is what obsession with the chip does. It turns every moment into a mission for validation. Winning in Cleveland was not just about the ring. It was about legacy control, about image correction, about making sure no one could say he only won with a super team. But the GOAT does not need to manage perception. He defines it. LeBron tried to manufacture a redemption arc. Jordan never needed one.
Back to Cleveland for one reason: to resurrect his reputation and his stature.
Stephen A. unloads here, and he is right. The GOAT conversation should not even be a conversation anymore. Jordan owns that title in the minds of the majority. He is the benchmark, the icon, the unchallenged standard. But every few months, LeBron and his camp push their way back into the spotlight, screaming for reconsideration. That is not greatness. That is obsession. That is insecurity disguised as ambition. Stephen A. makes it clear that many people, himself included, recognize LeBron's place among the all-time greats. But GOAT is a separate tier, and LeBron has not crossed that threshold. Yet his circle keeps acting like the debate is still alive. They play the victim, they accuse the media of bias, they pretend there is some grand conspiracy keeping him from the throne. But there is no conspiracy. There is just Jordan, towering, eternal, untouched. LeBron's camp needs to stop pretending that this is about disrespect. It is not disrespect to say someone is second. It is disrespectful to ignore the man who set the standard in the first place. LeBron's obsession with the chip has led him to try to manipulate the narrative every step of the way. His team pushes documentaries, his fans flood social media, his defenders cherry-pick stats, but none of that changes the truth. Jordan is the GOAT, and the fact that LeBron has to campaign for the crown only proves he does not own it.
That we have to stop letting him and his camp get away.
Lots of people have.
Once again, no, excuse me, when we talk about the GOAT, because he's not in a lot of people's eyes, it's Michael Jordan. That is it. Everybody universally recognizes him as one of the top 3 players in the history of basketball.
When Stephen A. sarcastically asks if LeBron James needs a diaper, a bib, and applesauce just because he's not called the GOAT, it is not just humor. It is frustration. It is ridicule aimed directly at a superstar who craves affirmation like oxygen. LeBron's reaction to criticism has always revealed the same truth. He does not want to be told he is second. He wants unanimous adoration, and when he does not get it, the sulking begins. Stephen A.'s mockery is brutal because it is accurate. LeBron expects the basketball world to spoon-feed him praise just because he has done incredible things. Yes, he has played 20-plus seasons. Yes, he has broken records. Yes, he has won championships. But the moment someone says, "You are not the GOAT," he and his defenders lose their composure. That is the mark of someone obsessed, not someone content with legacy. Michael Jordan never needed the world to bow to him. His game made the world do it naturally. LeBron, on the other hand, is always reaching for a crown that was never his. He is always battling ghosts that only haunt him. He is constantly asking, "What more can I do?" But the answer is simple. You cannot do more. Because the one thing that separates Jordan from everyone else is that he never lost when it mattered most. He never needed multiple tries to prove his greatness. He never begged the world to validate him. LeBron wants the GOAT title delivered to him with soft words and no scrutiny. But greatness doesn't come with a participation trophy. It comes with ruthlessness, finality, and a killer instinct that Jordan owned from day one. Stephen A. is tired of the whining, and so is everyone else.
In a bib, what do you want? Do you want us to feed you some applesauce or something? My God, what more can you do? Other than saying he's not the GOAT.
Stephen A. reminds the world of a simple truth. The spotlight is earned through triumph. You do not get the shine just because you exist. You get it when you win, and when you win consistently. LeBron did not have the same kind of shine early in his career because he was not a champion yet. The media was waiting for him to prove it. The fans were watching to see if he could deliver. And for a long time, he did not. That is why the idea that LeBron was always this revered figure is a myth. It is revisionist history. He became a true icon only after he finally captured that elusive ring. Only after he showed that he could finish what he started. Stephen A. is pointing out that LeBron's obsession with the chip is not some noble pursuit. It is the key to his entire identity. Without it, he is just another stat monster. With it, he becomes a legend. That is why LeBron chases rings with such intensity. That is why every move, every season, every roster decision is focused solely on the title. He knows that shine is conditional. He knows that greatness only exists in the winner's circle, and that truth has controlled his entire narrative. Jordan, by contrast, created his own shine. From the moment he stepped on the court, he changed the game. He elevated teammates. He owned moments. And when he won, it was never in question who the best was. LeBron needed to climb. He needed to prove, and that need has become an obsession. Every missed opportunity eats at him. Every finals loss adds weight. Every critique becomes fuel. Stephen A. is not diminishing LeBron. He is revealing the foundation of his career. A man defined by rings. A man who needs the shine. A man who will do anything to never lose it again.
You weren't getting that kind of shine when you weren't winning. If you didn't win anything, it wasn't coming to you like that.
Stephen A. brings up a crucial aspect of LeBron's legacy, his off-season work ethic, the commitment, the training, the non-stop grind to improve even after decades of success. And yes, it is admirable, but it also reinforces the main argument. LeBron is obsessed with the chip. He is not grinding in silence for self-improvement alone. He is grinding because he believes each new skill, each physical upgrade, each tactic brings him 1 inch closer to that ring. Every off-season is not a break. It is a campaign, a war room, a strategic operation to make sure he is not forgotten when legacy conversations start. LeBron knows that if he slows down, if he stops pushing, if he takes a step back, the noise gets louder. The doubts return. The critics grow. That is why he trains with a fury. That is why his social media is filled with clips of workouts and shots in the gym. It is not just about the love of the game. It is about the hunger to stay relevant, to stay dangerous, to stay within reach of another championship, because that championship is his security blanket. It is his shield against comparison. Jordan did not need a new season to prove greatness. He made every season a statement, every title a legacy-sealing moment. LeBron, on the other hand, is still chasing that moment, still trying to find the win that erases all the doubt, still hoping the next chip will finally silence the Jordan chance. That is why he works the way he does, because when you are obsessed with the chip, you cannot afford to rest.
Talking about the commitment that LeBron gives, that he's revered for, along with many others, and what they bring to the table off the court. Are you constantly working to improve your craft and to elevate your level of play? The audience needs to see that.
When Stephen A. says LeBron James has an insatiable appetite for the chip, he is calling it exactly what it is, an obsession that goes beyond competition. This is no longer just about basketball. It is about legacy, it is about insecurity, and it is about validation. For LeBron, the ring is not just the goal, it is the lifeline. He needs it to stay afloat in the GOAT conversation. Without it, everything collapses. This isn't the hunger that drives champions like Kobe or Jordan. This is addiction. It's the feeling that one more championship will finally shut everyone up. But here's the twist. It never will. No matter how many rings LeBron wins, he will never be Jordan. Because while LeBron needs the chip to justify his greatness, Jordan used the chip to confirm his dominance. Jordan did not chase rings to change narratives. He won rings because he was the narrative. Every chip LeBron adds to his resume still comes with a question mark. How did he win? Who helped? What happened in the losses? What was the path? That kind of legacy is fragile. That kind of pursuit is endless. And Stephen A. recognizes it. LeBron's LeBron's every season now begins with a new quest for affirmation. He is not playing for joy, he is playing for judgment. He is hunting that elusive moment where the world unanimously declares him number one. But that moment never comes for those who need it too much. True greatness isn't obsessed with validation. True greatness speaks and the world listens. LeBron screams and half the world still shrugs. That is the tragedy of his obsession. He's chasing a finish line that will never exist.
And validation is an insatiable appetite for the chip.
Stephen A. takes it a step further when he says it's not even about the ring itself, it's about the pursuit. That grueling climb, that relentless push, that soul-consuming campaign for greatness. And he's right. LeBron James has built his entire career around the chase, around proving doubters wrong, around rewriting narratives, around outlasting every other name in the book. But again, this is not just dedication, it is obsession in its purest form. LeBron's entire self-worth as a player hinges on how close he is to another chip. That is why he never takes his foot off the gas. That is why every offseason is war preparation. That is why every headline, every analyst take, every fan argument drives him to go harder. Because he does not just want to win, he needs to win. Because without that chase, who is he? Stephen A. sees it clear as day. LeBron can't walk away because walking away means the pursuit ends. And when the pursuit ends, so does the illusion that another ring will finally earn him the GOAT crown. Jordan never needed a chase. He arrived, he conquered, and he walked away on top twice. No begging, no pleading, no obsessing, just execution. LeBron is still out here hoping that one more title might be enough, but it won't be. Because the very need to chase it already disqualifies him from being the GOAT. Jordan never chased greatness. He was greatness. LeBron, he's still running.
Actual ring, it's the pursuit of it and a commitment to going for it. Come hella high water. LeBron knows that.
Stephen A. finishes the thought with the coldest truth of all. If a player gets too comfortable with what he has already won, if he gets lackadaisical, if he loses that fire, the audience loses respect. LeBron knows this. He knows that the moment he relaxes and says, I did enough, is the moment people stop putting him in the GOAT debate. He cannot afford to say, it's all right, I've done enough. Because once that happens, the image fades. The mystique disappears. The obsession with the chip has become not only his mission, but also his mask. Without it, he is vulnerable. Without it, the spotlight dims. Stephen A. is not just talking about rings. He's talking about identity. And for LeBron, identity is deeply tied to that next win, that next finals, that next banner. The chip is not just a trophy, it is a life source. And the audience, they can smell complacency. They can see when a player starts coasting. LeBron cannot coast. Not if he wants to keep the illusion alive. Not if he wants to keep whispering to the world, I'm still coming for Jordan. Jordan never had to whisper. He walked away, and the world screamed his name anyway. LeBron knows this. That is why the pursuit will never end. Because the second it does, so does the fantasy. The fantasy that he was ever truly GOAT material. He is not. He is obsessed. Obsessed with a chip he will never use to climb above Michael Jordan.
Appetite for the chip. And you're laissez-faire about it. And it's okay, I didn't win. All right, so be it. It's all right. There's more things to life. The audience ain't gonna like that.
Stephen A. Smith did not need to shout it. He didn't need to insult LeBron James to get the point across. Every quote he delivered carved a deeper truth. LeBron James is not the GOAT. He is the obsessed. Obsessed with titles, obsessed with legacy, obsessed with validation. And that obsession has driven every decision, every comeback, every trade request, and every offseason. It is the defining thread of his career. LeBron is not a fraud. He is not a failure. But he is chasing something that was never his. And Stephen A. sees right through it. Jordan never needed this kind of obsession. He won, he dominated, and he left. LeBron, he is still here, still pushing, still posting workouts, still trying to convince the world that another ring will finally close the gap, but it won't, because obsession can't replace greatness, and desperation can't crown a king. The GOAT title belongs to Jordan, not because he won the most, but because he won with finality. LeBron is trying to win with volume, and it shows. It shows in his words, in his moves, in his legacy. He is not chasing the game, he is chasing ghosts, and ghosts do not give up the throne. Not for obsession, not for effort, not even for longevity. Jordan still sits at the top, and all LeBron can do is chase it. Subscribe to NBA Showdown and drop your thoughts below. Is obsession enough to define greatness, or has LeBron's chase blinded him to the truth? Let the war in the comments begin.